Did you know that 56% of all Americans can't afford a $1,000 emergency fund? And for one of the first times in American history, more people have credit card debt than they do savings. Now, let me know in the comment, what do you think about this statistic and what do you feel about 56% of Americans not being able to afford a $1,000 emergency, and that for the first time in American history, more people have credit card debt than they do savings? For me personally, this is really scary and alarming, which is why something has to be done. So in this video, I want to give you 5 simple steps on how to save $10,000 fast. So if you don't have extra money in case something goes wrong, or you're the kind of person you just want to have extra money on hand to eliminate the potential financial stress that comes with not having money, or the financial stress that comes with the thinking about if something happened, you not being able to take care of it. Either way, if this is you and you just want extra money on hand or to be able to take care of something if something happened, this video is something you really want to watch, and I show you specifically how to save $10,000 fast. And for the sake of this video, we're going to say fast is 1 year. And think about this. Even if it takes you a full 12 months, a full year to save $10,000, that still puts you light years ahead of the average person, specifically in the United States. Now, when you think about $10,000, that can seem like a really big number. So the first step in this specific process that we want to do is we want to break this down in chunks. So chunks might be $250 every week, or either $833 a month. And when you think about, saving $250 a week, now that can seem like a lot of money, specifically where you are, but trust me, I'm going to share with you some other steps on specifically how to get that. But for now, just thinking about how do we break this down in chunks. So $10,000 over the course of an entire year, and you think about this, let's say you don't start at the beginning of the year, or it's just 2 months where you're just trying to get everything together. If you save $250 per week for 10 months, that's going to give you $10,000. But let's say you started from day one. You start from day one. If you start from day one, then what that equates to is $833 per month for 12 months. Now, for me, I think about like life happens, Murphy Law, all those kind of things. And so just kind of giving yourself some buffer. And so for me, I think about it more so from the perspective of, giving yourself 2 months. Now, 2 months doesn't mean that you have to give yourself a full 60 days at the same time. It can mean like breaking it up like incrementally, but some kind of way, you give yourself a 2-month buffer. And so for me, that's where I come up with the 250 10 rule, if you will. So $250 per week for 10 months, that's going to give you the $10,000. And again, I know like that might seem like, it's really far or that's a lot of money for right now. But again, if you really think about, if you stick to the plan and you stay disciplined, like this is something that is it's almost inevitable. Like it has to happen, if you will, because you're going through the process and the steps. Like I said, when it comes to like how, I'm going to show you that a little bit farther down the line. However, the other thing that I want to share with you just in the first step in this process of breaking it down is really critical for you to write it down, like put it on a sticky note in your refrigerator, like screensaver. For me, something that I even did that was really effective is even changing your passwords. So you think about how many times you log into something. It's like if you change this to your password, every single time you log into the different places where you log into, you're constantly reminded, and it's giving you a word picture, and it's giving you a vision of what's important to you, and you want to keep it as visible as you possibly can as a constant reminder to your conscious as well as your subconscious mind. And when you do this, this will allow you to start seeing opportunities all around you that weren't there before you made this come into your awareness. Now, this is where you might be asking yourself, well, Chris, how do I find this extra money that you're talking about? And this leads me to step 2. You want to find the cushion in your budget. Now, when you think about how much your expenses are versus how much your income is, in that difference in between, if there is one, that is your cushion. So there's a lot of people, they don't have a cushion at all. Like everything is like really, really tight. And for some people, it's like their cushion might be $1,000, $2,000, $300, because when it comes to their income versus their expenses, it's like what's left over is that cushion. And for them, that cushion, it might be a couple $100 or like I said, a couple $1,000, but that is your cushion. And it's like you want to find the cushion in your budget. And so what does that take doing? It takes you like writing out and seeing things for exactly what they are, because a lot of times, you know, and I get it, money is very emotional. But the one thing that's not emotional is pen and paper, black and white, numbers. Numbers is not emotional. They just are what they are. Now we, you know, have definitions or like we respond emotionally to the things that we see, and we create stories, and like that causes us to be emotional about it. But the numbers itself, they're not emotional whatsoever. And so when it comes to you really understanding like the cushion in your budget, it takes you writing things out to really see where you are. Because, you know, if you work at a job or you have a business, like you know how much money you make. But a lot of people don't know how much their expenses are, because expenses are painful. And so it's like, who wants to look at something that's constantly hurting them, if you will? So a lot of people just totally ignore their expenses and they pay things as they come, if you will. But it's really important for you to write it down and see exactly what it is so you can understand what your cushion is. And it's like when you understand what your cushion is, you now want to like see if you can increase that cushion, if you will. And whatever that cushion is for you, you want to take that cushion and you want to put it somewhere totally different and put it somewhere that's really difficult and hard for you to get to. So I don't know if you have like family members or friends or somebody that you can like really trust, you know, with money, but it's like every week or every month or however frequent like you get money, it's like whatever that cushion is for you, you can send that cushion to them and tell them that, listen, no matter what, under any circumstances whatsoever, do not give me this for at least 6 months. Even though I know the focus is a year, but you want to give them at least 6 months that they cannot give you this money for anything whatsoever. And the only thing you can do at that time, you can add to it, but you can never take away from it. Like when you really have people in your life that you can trust at that level, they're going to not only hold you accountable, but they're going to support you in your journey to this $10,000. And if you don't have a friend or family member, you know, if that just does not work for you, I would highly encourage you to put it in a high yield savings account. You know, something that can give you more money than what the average, bank account, is actually giving right now. However, either way, it's really important for you to understand what that cushion is, and you take that cushion and you remove it from your extra money. Now, once you find the cushion in your budget, now you want to move to step 3, which is find ways to cut your expenses. Now, there's a very few people that can cut their expenses because they don't have anything or anywhere else to cut. That's not true for most of us. Most of us, we have somewhere where we can cut. And it's like, I encourage you to cut where you can cut and understand that it's only temporary. So there are people right now that are living somewhere where it's really, really nice, but they could probably find somewhere else to live that's at least a couple hundred, if not $500 or more cheaper than where they currently live. Or people that are living in a house that might need to sell the house, and go live somewhere else, for a short period of time. And for some people, they might think like, well, look, I know it's tight right now, but this house is building wealth. I totally get that. And maybe that might be smart depending on the situation, because everybody's situation is different. However, you also might be a person where you live in an apartment or you're renting from somewhere, and it might be in your best interest to go live with that family member for 6 months that will allow you to live there, but maybe it's not going to make you feel totally comfortable like you currently do and where your setup is right now. Just keep in mind that this is only temporary. And if you were able to go and live with a family member for just 6 months, and I'm not saying not pay them anything, but just pay them at least half of what you're currently paying, then that might be $500 or more that you're saving every single month just from inconveniencing yourself to go live with a relative. And again, it's only temporary. Now, for some people, that might not even be an option. I totally get it. The other thing that you could do is this. If you have a car right now and you have a car note, I want to encourage you that if this is you, if you're looking to save $10,000 fast, I encourage you to either A, get you another car altogether, something that you could just pay off where you don't have a car note, period, or B, trade your car in for something less expensive, like decrease your car note immediately. And that is something that can get you on the fast track to saving at least $10,000. Because here's the thing. If you have a car note right now, this is just a harsh reality. If you have a car note right now, a year from now, what you still owe on that car versus what that car is worth, there's going to be a gap. And that gap is essentially, if you wanted to get rid of that car that day, this is the gap that you have to pay to get rid of it. So that means that you might owe $25,000 on this car, but the car will only sell for $21,000. So that means that you have to pay. You gotta pay $4,000 just to get rid of that car. Now again, the longer you keep a car, the bigger that gap is. So if you want to save $10,000 fast and you have a car note, I want to encourage you to get rid of that car note as quick as you can, because every day you keep that car, the gap is just getting bigger and it's putting you in a deeper financial situation, if you will. Now, for some people, they're like, look, I'm not getting rid of my car, and I totally get it. And if you're somebody who's unwilling to get rid of your car, or you're somebody who's unwilling to go move somewhere with a family member or something like that, then find other ways where you can cut your expenses. But either way, there is always a way where you can cut your expenses. And it's like, when you cut your expenses, keep in mind that it's only temporary. Like, this is not something you have to do for the rest of your life. It's only temporary. And it's like, when you allow yourself to just sacrifice for a small portion of time, it can yield you great rewards, much greater than any pleasure you might feel right now from any material item that you have. And later on, it's like the sacrifice that you make now can cause you to have an experience that you otherwise never would have had. There's a famous saying that says, live like no one else so you can live like no one else. And most people are not able to live how they really want to live because of the sacrifice that they're not willing to make right now. Now, speaking of sacrifice, some people might say, look, I don't have anywhere else to cut. Like, the only thing that I could do right now is add to, which leads me to step 4. This is adding more income to your bank account, or making more money, if you will. Now, some people might feel like, how can I do that? And I'm going to give you a couple of examples. And this is also a way for you to actually grow your cushion as well. Now, this is something that is not, just based on what you're currently doing. However, that could add an element in it. If you're currently working at a job, like, maybe a way for you to get more money, increase your income, might be to work more overtime. Like maybe you don't work overtime every single day because, again, you want to give yourself a break and a rest, just have a better quality of life. Like, maybe you can work overtime every other week. And again, keep in mind, this is temporary. That's one aspect of it. One other way for you to increase your income or to make more money immediately is to get a side hustle. Like there are so many different things that people can do on the side to make more money that does not, number one, require a lot of time, but it also does not require them sacrificing their current main source of income to do it. Another thing that somebody could do is to start a business on the side. Now, I know a side hustle and a side business, it might sound similar, but it's totally different. And when it comes to a side business, it's like the side business could be something that you're working on the side for just a few hours per week or per day or whatever, that you eventually want to replace your current income, like your main income. And it's like, once you think about doing something on the side and you have a plan and you understand that, listen, like, this side hustle or even this side business, if you will, is going to one day replace this main income, it gives you a level of inspiration to continue to stay at it, because there's freedom in sight. And this is going to also, in addition to giving you that freedom, it's going to help you to accelerate to get to that $10,000 even faster. Now, in terms of a side hustle or even a side business, if you will, I've actually created something to give you an opportunity to take advantage of, and it allows you to give yourself the ability to make residual income daily. And I know that might sound like a pie in the sky, if you will, but just check it out. Go to residualincomedaily.com and check it out. So this could be one way where you can actually increase your income just on the side and even get to that $10,000 per year even quicker. But again, residualincomedaily.com. So again, when it comes to making more money, increasing your income, and just growing your cushion all together, it also gives you the ability to have a little bit of breathing room. because I don't know about you, but if I'm honest, like there are times where, in the past where, man, I just want to breathe for a minute, because it's like when you think about money and this constant money stress and things like that, it's like you just never get a break and you just always feel on, because even when you're not making money, you're constantly thinking about paying money out. But either way, money is constantly on your mind, and it's not for the better, if you will. Sometimes you might give yourself the ability to dream about what life is going to look like when, or what life's going to look like if, but typically that might be a little bit down the line. And so by having just a little bit extra, it gives you that ability to breathe and just give yourself, just a comfort just for a temporary period of time. Now, the last step in this process is treating your savings like a mortgage that is something you cannot miss a payment on. So you think about this, for the average person, if they have bills, the one thing that they're going to pay if they don't pay anything else is they're going to pay for where they live. Even if they don't pay for their car, they might not pay other expenses, but they're going to pay for where they live, because they understand that if I don't pay for this, I'm going to be homeless. And for most people, that is one of the most painful experiences that they can have when it comes to not paying this versus everything else. And so when you treat your savings like you're paying your mortgage, that's something where you might pay that first. Like you might pay that first. And that's a good habit to be in, because most of the time when it comes to us paying us, we pay ourselves last, or we pay ourselves with the leftover. But when you think about paying yourself first, now you're putting yourself in a habit of you coming first before all of your bills. Now, I'm not saying you come first from a selfish perspective, like, look, I'm going to buy whatever I want to buy and do whatever I want to do and then end up right back in a financial hole. I'm not saying that whatsoever. I'm just saying that it's really important for us to put us first, to understand and communicate to our conscious mind that we have valuable and that we are valuable, and that we are worth it. Because it's like if all you do is just sacrifice, save and scrimp, and you don't do anything to allow yourself to have a healthy relationship with money, then you're going to have money blocks that continuously show up and manifest itself in just different ways, where it just seems like you work hard but nothing else is working in your favor. So it's like when you treat your savings like a mortgage, it just puts you in a better position, and it puts you in a place where you just automatically save your way to this $10,000 goal, if you will. And it's like when you make things automated, it just becomes easier to do, because now it becomes a habit. And it's like, just like you pay your mortgage and your rent every single month or whatever on the 1st, 15th, whatever your date is, it's like you can now do the same thing to your savings. And when you treat it as such, it's going to become that. And when you treat your savings like a bill, now it becomes something that is a non-negotiable for you. And when you make something a non-negotiable, that means it's going to happen regardless. Like it doesn't matter what comes up. This is going to happen regardless, because this is where I find my safety. This is where I find my rest. This is where I bring my family to live and to be protected. If you think about it like a house or like an apartment where you live. And when you think about it from that perspective, you treat it from that perspective, $10,000 is not just going to be something that you wish for. It's going to be a reality. And then that reality is going to grow into an expectation that you now put on repeat. And you do it over and over again. And before you know it, that $10,000 is going to grow from 10 to 20 to 30. And who knows how far that might go, because now your expectation of money has totally changed, because you now have this amount that have set a new standard for you. So now you're not just used to having $50 in the bank, or $1,100 in the bank. Now your new standard is bare minimum $10,000. And we just go up from there. And that's a beautiful thing. And so if you follow these 5 steps, you will get to $10,000 in 12 months. So again, leave in the comments what you think about this and how long do you think it's going to take you based on the plan that you make for yourself.